Beit HaMikdash is supposed to come down from heaven. True or false? Let's see what the sources say. It all starts with the Torah itself. And they shall make for me a sanctuary, and I will dwell among them. This mitzvah is clarified and codified by such authorities as the Rambam and Sefer HaIkarim. These sources indicate that it is a mitzvah taseh, a positive commandment to physically construct the Beit HaMikdash. Let's see now. Are there any other mitzvot that we are waiting for God Himself to fulfill? Can you name one? Just one. Should I give you some more time? You won't be able to come up with even one because all mitzvot by definition are intrinsically doable and eternal with no expiration date. And anyway, why would God give Israel a commandment that we can't do? Once given at Sinai, they are always in force. There are some sources to back this up. Clearly, according to halacha, it is a mitzvah for Israel to build the Beit HaMikdash. But wait, haven't I heard that there is an opinion that states that the third Beit HaMikdash is ready-made and will descend from heaven? For example, the Gemara in Bava Kama, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, I must pay the damage for the fire I kindled. I started a fire in Zion, as it's written, He kindled a fire in Zion which consumed its foundations. And in the future, I will rebuild it with fire. As it states, and I will be for it a wall of fire all around, and for glory I will be in its midst. Doesn't that refer to a temple of fire descending from heaven? And haven't I heard that in the opinion of Rashi and Tosafot expressed in a number of places in the Talmud that the future Beit HaMikdash will suddenly appear ready-made from heaven? Before we examine these sources, let's go back even further and note that the very first attempt to rebuild the Beit HaMikdash, as recorded by the Midrash, occurred just a few short years after the destruction of Bayit Sheni, in the era of Rabbi Yoshua ben Hanania. Around the year 118 CE, the Emperor Hadrian gave permission for the Mikdash to be rebuilt. The work was about to begin, but Samaritan hostility to the plan caused Hadrian to cancel his permission. But we do see clearly that Rabbi Yoshua ben Hanania did not say, we can't try to build the temple, it has to descend from heaven. Under his direction, the Jews were ready to begin the construction. Now back to that lesson in Bava Kama. The Babylonians destroyed the first temple, and the Romans destroyed the second. So obviously the fire referred to by this verse is man-made. But on a deeper level, the destruction of the temple was caused by Israel's sins, and it was authorized by God. So too, the verse in Zechariah is referring to the sense of security that will be felt in Jerusalem in the future. We know this because Rashi comments that there will not be a literal fire. He uses the word ki'ilu, meaning it will be as if the city is surrounded by a wall of fire. So since the fire of the destruction was man-made but divinely sanctioned, so too the fire of the rebuilding could be manifest in the very human, divinely sanctioned fire of the artillery of the 1967 Six-Day War. Now about Rashi and Tosafot alluding to a divinely revealed future temple, understand that these comments were made in the context of a lesson dealing with an obscure halachic conundrum, employing various hypothetical scenarios, but not as a straightforward answer to a direct question as to how and when the third Beit HaMikdash will be built. In fact, as we have just seen, Rashi does not even consider Zechariah's wall of fire to be literal at all. In reality, Rashi's position on the subject is exactly the opposite, as clearly seen in his comments on this verse in the book of Yechezkel. If they become ashamed of all they have done, then make known to them the form of the temple and its design, its exits and its entrances and all its forms, all its laws, all its designs and all its teachings, and write all this down before their eyes so that they may safeguard its entire form and its rules and fulfill them. On these words, Rashi clarifies, what is the meaning of the words, so that they may safeguard? He says, they will learn the aspects of the dimensions from your mouth so that they will know to do them at the time of the end. Divinely revealed, but made by man. And as for Tosafot, just look at the history. One of the most important Balei Tosafot, Rabbi Yechiel of Paris, immigrated from France to the land of Israel and began making practical preparations for the return of the Jewish people and the resumption of the Avodah in the Beit HaMikdash. Of course, Rashi and Tosafot would never contradict Torah or uproot a mitzvah in the Torah. Obviously, something is going on here. And then we have Psalms 127, which brings everything together beautifully. This psalm talks about Hashem building the Beit HaMikdash. It says, a song of ascents for Shlomo. If Hashem will not build the house, in vain do its builders labor on it. If Hashem will not build the house, can that be? Everyone agrees that this chapter of Tehillim was written by King David in honor of his son Shlomo, who was going to be building the first Beit HaMikdash, and that this chapter is speaking of that first Beit HaMikdash. But everyone also knows that huge amounts of labor and materials and time were expended in the construction of that first Beit HaMikdash, and it most certainly, by all accounts, was not built by heaven. Compare this Psalm 127 with the description we find in the book of Malachim, Kings. There we read, King Solomon imposed a levy from all of Israel, 30,000 men, and 70,000 who carried burdens, and 80,000 who hewed in the mountain, and another 3,300 chief officers. It sure doesn't sound like it came down from heaven, but it did receive heavenly authorization by way of the heavenly fire that descended upon the altar. That's just it. Everything in life, all human endeavor, is only successful when it is partnered with Hashem's blessings and aid. An example is when parents bring a child into the world. Can they explain the process by which a soul is born? Okay, so it's clear that even if one thinks that the Beit HaMikdash is ultimately somehow going to descend from heaven, first Israel must fulfill God's commandment and build it themselves. And only afterwards God brings about the final spiritual touches onto the structure that they have created with their own hands with the resting of the Shekhinah. Above all, the most important thing to understand is that Hashem's blessings come about when first we do our part, which is the performance of the mitzvot aseh, the positive commandments. This is the major principle of Torah. The Torah is all about asiyah, about man fulfilling God's command. There's no difference between mitzvot aseh. There's no difference between va'asu lachem tzitzit, and they shall make tzitzit, and va'asu li mikdash, they shall make for me a mikdash. I mean, did you ever see somebody on Erev Sukkot waiting for his sukkah to fall from heaven? Please check out all the sources for the lessons discussed in this video in the description text below, and please feel free to join in the conversation in the comments section. If you liked this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel for more Torah teachings every week. Coming up next in our Holy Temple Mythbusters series, Part 3, Who builds the Holy Temple? Do we need to wait for Mashiach?